So number 6. Which of the following equations has both 1 and negative 3? How do we solve this? What's that? Now, that's a good point. Are you going to be allowed to use a calculator? No. No calculators, no graphing calculators. You do use one, what type? Just a little one that is on the screen, just to multiply, divide, subtract, and add. You what? Oh, Monday you'll be able to use, no, just the 4-function calculator, yeah. So I have 4-function calculators that my pre-cal use. That's the same thing you're going to be using. Because I want you to take it just like if you were taking the TSI. Okay? So no calculator. So don't rely on, it's okay, I'm going to have the calculator. No calculator. Now what? How do I do this problem without a calculator? ¿Verdad? We need to be smart. How do we do that? I have told you, if you were to use a calculator, how are you going to find the solutions with a calculator?
Y equals.
No. Well, you put the y equals, you put the equation, then you put the equation, then what else? You graph it, and then you graph it, and then what else?
Table.
You use table. 0, Lizzie, that's right. Leslie's saying zeros. Do you remember the second trace? Give you the zeros, option number 2? Well, these are zeros. What they're giving you are zeros, which is what else? There's 4 words for zeros. It's zeros, what else? Roots, solutions, and x-intercepts. Okay? So x-intercept means that x equals, so let me put here, x is equals to 1, and x it's equals to negative 3. To get a quadratic equation, you need 2 factors. How do I get the factor? The way you get the factor is by moving the 1 to the left, the negative 3 to the left, and then you will have a factor. So what you do is you subtract 1. By doing that, you're going to have x minus 1 equals 0. That's 0. You do the same thing with the negative 3. You add 3. So you're going to have x plus 3 equals to 0. And like that, you get your factors and you multiply your factors. So you're going to have x minus 1 times x plus 3. That is supposed to be equal to 0. There's a method that I need to use to get the quadratic equation from these 2 factors. Which is that method? FOIL. So you use your FOIL method. First, outer, inner, last. So we distribute first x times x. You mean x squared? I know you meant to say that. Next, how about outer? Outer terms, what is that? 3x, so it's plus 3x. I for inner. Inner? You mean negative x? I knew you wanted to say that. And last is negative 3. Beautiful, yes. So then, when I simplify, I need to combine the like terms. So what is 3x minus x?
2x.
That is 2x. So it's x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals to 0. And that is option number, letter what? Letter B. That was the solution, okay? Number 6. Number 7. In number 7, it says, if in the plane xy, what is the y-intercept of the graph with the equation y equals, and then they give you an equation. Now, let's talk about x-intercept. We just said that the solutions for this were the x-intercepts, right? Now, if it's a solution, I have x equals to 1, right? Which means that, x is equal to 0. If x is equal to 0 here, if I let x be equal to 0, isn't it that the opposite of this, that would be 1? Right? And like, for example, here, if x is equal to 0, 0, this is 0, would that be negative 3? So what I'm saying with that is that whenever you're finding the x-intercept, you're going to let the x be equals to 0. Because if you think about the graph, they want an y-intercept, so it's a point here, a point here, a point here. What do all these points have in common? X. They all have in common, X is what? 0. So when you're looking for the y-intercept, you want a point that has X equal to 0. So in my equation, I'm going to say X is 0. So I'm going to get rid of that. That is a 0.
Which one are we on, 6 or 7?
I'm in number 7.
Oh.
Yes. So I went to number 6 to mention that they said zeros. So the zeros are actually giving you, the X is equal to 0, you get the y-intercept in a way. So I'm getting rid of the X's, because if X is equal to 0, X is equal to 0. Okay, so what are you going to get from here? Okay, what? 2 times 3? 6. 6 times negative 4? Negative 24, so that's the answer. So every time they tell you find the y-intercept, you're going to let the X be equal to 0, disappear the 0, disappear the 0, and then just multiply or do whatever they give you on the equation. Okay, so this is multiplication, so that's why I multiply. So 6 times negative 4, negative 24. Okay, as simple as that. Now number 8, you need to know what is that equals to. In Algebra 1, I know it has been a long time, but in Algebra 1 they told you that you could have difference. Have you heard about difference of squares? No? Yes? Some of you do, some of you don't. Okay, well, God is so big, right? It's huge. So anyways, here, when you have a minus in the middle, and you rewrite that, let me rewrite it as difference of squares. What could be something that I multiply, I square, that gives me x to the 4th power? What could that be? X to the what power? To the 2nd power. Because when you do x to the 2nd power square, you end up multiplying the exponents. So it's x to the 4th power. Now what about on the negative 1? What number to the 2nd power gives me a 1? It's 1. So the difference of squares is denoted as, this is how they give it to you. You just you're just gonna have what the first one is, you put it in both. Whatever the second is, you put it in both. And difference of squares, you're gonna have one that is gonna be negative and another one that is gonna be positive. Okay, that is difference of squares. So, do I have another difference of squares in that step? Yes. X squared minus 1. Can I split it out into 2 factors also? Yes, I can. So here, I'm going to have 2 factors that are coming from this difference of squares, and that's going to be, what are going to be the factors? That's right, is x and x, because that's the number that I'm using, right? And then it's a 1 and a 1, that's the second number I'm using. See, here it was x squared, and over here it was 1. But over here, just x, 1. It's a minus in the middle, so one factor is going to have a what? A plus, and another one a minus. And I just bring down the other factor that I have. So is this listed in one of the answer choices? Yes. So all they wanted for you to do is to review and learn about difference of squares here. Okay? Now, I think that was 1 through 8 that you asked me to go over. You also mentioned, yes. Uh-huh. On this here?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm following the difference of squares. Difference of squares, when you have something square and another square, this is like the 1 square. So you're going to have the same numbers, these two, but one with a plus and one with a negative. That following the rules of the difference of squares. Just the way I did it over here. One with a plus, another one with a minus. Okay?